Good evening and welcome to the Psychic Coffee Shop. I'm Aeson Knight. Of course, I'm sitting down with my co-hostess with the mostest, Techie Joe. How are you, darling?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Oh, halfway evil, a little over demented, and the normal.
Hey, Brenda. Sorry to keep y'all waiting.
I was like, honey, we have a show.
The funny part was you were talking about it on the way home in the car, and I don't know, my brain went la 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 Elmo's World. And I swear to God, I thought you meant Second Life. And I was like, oh, okay. So I went over to your preferred venue, and I'm just hanging out on the couch, working with my iPad, like throwing some stuff in my planner for next year, just living my best life. And you're like, honey, Brenda's waiting.
Yeah.
Literally what he said to me, and I was like, what? And I was like, have I had a stroke? Brenda? I don't take anyone to work or anywhere named Brenda. I don't know. Like, I had a whole moment over here. Like, I would totally back right now, take me to see if I've had a stroke, but it was right. Like, I went off into la la land.
Right.
Yes, you did. You had coffee waiting. So yeah, that's how I'm doing. Like, that's how long it's been since we've been to air.
Yeah.
Like, I just totally like la 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 la
la la la la. We were on air last Friday.
No, we weren't.
No, we weren't. See, this is the problem. Okay, let's talk about the problem, and then we can address the problem. The problem is, Happy Planner, your shipping sucks.
There's that. But like, we've been missing shows, and I know that's been really frustrating for you guys. Yep. There have been some double booked events. We've been sick, but we've.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, you messaged? Like, that's how out of it I am. Like, I'm looking to see, like, did I seriously miss a message? I'm kidding. About Friday. Yeah, she's saying no, we didn't have a show. Sorry about it. Now my brain caught up. Like, this is what this last week of the year does to people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wish I could say I was drunk or otherwise inebriated right now and be like, that's a reasonable excuse for the level of malfunction. But it's literally, it is literally the phenomenon of the last week of the year that just doesn't matter.
Well, apparently it doesn't matter to a lot of people. It matters when you have, like, Queen performing on your Sims. And you've got to be there because you're the one that's, like, manually controlling traffic and organizing your team and I don't know, client appointments and podcasts going on. Like, this year has been a fucking year and a half.
Well, and I do have to say, like, so we've missed 2 shows because of concerts, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, the Lady Gaga concert, the Queen concert, both of those, totally down to do them. It's a very cool experience. Flippin' love it.
Yeah.
The problem has been, we had a little bit of lead up, but a lot of like miscommunications regarding the Lady Gaga concert, which then all came together and it worked beautifully, and we apparently impressed people. And so that event organizer pulled one of the 3 sim owners, which is neither one of us, to the side and said, why don't we do this Queen concert next week? And he went, okay.
This is the owner that we love so much. We let him be the ambassador for the Sims.
Yes, but he is about as excitable as a chihuahua. Like, he very easily was like, okay.
Like, he's sure, we can do this.
Super agreeable. And we're all looking at him like, you want to have a wait a minute. We just came off the Lady Gaga event.
Mm-hmm.
and before Christmas, and you want to turn around and have another event 2 days after Christmas with a 1 week lead time.
Uh-huh. Well, see, here's what I found out when, the boardman came in and went, okay, what the fuck's going on? And he's like, oh, yeah, I told him over a freaking, he's known about this these two concerts were coming. He had this stuff a month ago. And I'm like, What?
Oh my god. Yeah, no. So it's like we did not do this intentionally. We kind of became victims of circumstance.
No, we became victims of multi-ship ownership.
Yeah. We're not mad. We are not mad.
We're not mad at all.
It's been great for the sim. It's been a great experience. We have dearly loved it. We have another event coming up that we now have a 1 month lead on. Technically a little less, like 3.5 weeks lead on. So it's coming together. It's getting better. We're figuring out how to work this. But yeah, it has thrown us into chaos.
Well, let's kind of take some time to talk about chaos. 2024.
And 2023 and 2022 and 2021. Anyone else finding the 2020s in general to be like a bad horror movie franchise? So I'm really hoping 2025 is when they kind of like just do one more movie, but like they can't figure out how to top themselves. So it's just kind of like crap.
It better not be. Like I've got a lot of shit running.
No. I mean, like, I'm talking about that moment where, like, the very first in a horror movie franchise is, oh my god, that was totally different, amazing, super cool. Oh my god, I don't know how they're going to ever do anything better than that. Part 2 comes out. They top part 1. Part 3 is when it starts to get a little formulaic. Part 4 is sometimes where it falls apart. Or they literally have thrown everything. It's like the end of a 4th of July fireworks. Like it's just everything.
Right.
And then they come back for 5 because there's still interest. And they're just kind of like,
right.
I don't know what to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and so it gets a little schlocky.
Right.
So when I call it crap, I'm saying it just gets a little schlocky.
I can deal with shocky. I can deal with shocky, but if the last show of 2023, you told me that I was going to be running a Sims, I was going to have the team like I used to have when I had a bar, that I was going to be telling people to fuck off and they'd go have a good night too. That I was going to be DJing in Second Life and running parties and running a Sims and running podcasts and sitting on boards and owning parts of companies.
Well, but
RL and SL, I would have told you to fuck off.
Well, but here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. Here's what all y'all need to realize. This is stuff he talked about at the end of 2023, beginning of this of 2024, and was sitting there like, these are things I would like to do, and just kind of casually threw them out. And it's like, okay,
yeah.
And but one day, not right now.
Like I still have to figure out how to put up okay. At that point, I was still trying to figure out how to move things where I wanted them in Second Life.
He has slightly improved on that, yes.
Hey, I'll put together a whole club. You didn't like it because it wasn't 90 degrees, but I put the whole club up and took it down and put it back up again.
Yeah, with a little assistance, yes.
Right.
He's reliving his glory years, plus experiences.
Okay. Yeah, plus new experiences.
New experiences.
Yeah.
But he was sitting here and he was just listing all this stuff out. Like, I want to start my own network or start some kind of network. You know, I want to do this. But again, these were all like, you know, in a couple of years.
Yeah.
Maybe 2026, maybe 2027. You know,
Like,
I'll do this and I'll do that and I'll do this other thing. And 2024 just showed up and was like, so you want to manage a sim in Second Life, huh? Here you go. Oh, you want to be a DJ? Here you go. You want that company opportunity? Here you go. You want more networks? Here you go. You're really sick and tired of this one network and find it a little like annoying to sign in. Yeah. Okay, it's going away. Like just everything you had like sat down and said at the end of last year. And so this man, knowing all of this, having previously already had this conversation, this is not a new conversation. What did you say before we went to dinner?
I want to throw out every fucking piece of clothes in this house and have to buy brand new ones.
And I went, do you understand? Well, I'm like, you better put terms and conditions on that. Very clear terms and conditions.
Right. Because I'm going to be doing a lot of video readings. So, you know, the t-shirts are going to have to go away. I'm going to meet with my stylist. We're going to decide my new style. I think I'm going to take my DJ style into my clothing style.
Yeah, well, because that was my first response, Brenda, is it's like, you know, that scares me because usually when I buy new clothes, it's because they have to be bigger. But I'm also envisioning, based on the way 2024 went, I'm like, sure, speak that out loud. With no qualifiers. You realize like 1201, this house could blow up, right? Like you realize what you did last year.
Yeah.
And just speaking that, like, well, I guess we're getting new clothes because, you know, the house burned down.
I will take, well, it's like when I said, you know, one of these days we'll open Raven's Nest, and this was while we were managing a Sims. And then I quickly...
Well, and that's where you kind of started with, you know, I want to get some sim management experience. I want to get some experience with this. Maybe in a year or two, I'll consider DJing because that looks fun and I really like it.
Right.
And again, and it was like it all just like it took everything he said at the end of last year and the long range of it, and it's like it just could like shoved it all in to 2024. And I'm like, you want to start talking about clothes? Okay.
Right. But no, well, one, yes, most of my clothes are leaving because we know that Aeson can't fit them anymore.
Oh, hey, Dreamer.
Hi, Dreamer. How are you, baby?
Yay. So, yeah, that's how 2020.
Yeah. So, you know, so when I left the old Sims and was like, I'm done. I'm tired of y'all's bullshit. Y'all ain't going to talk to me like I am a dog.
Yeah. And just walked right into another one.
No, I did not walk right into it. I quietly went over and I said, and this is what I told the owner. I am doing nothing except DJing one show a week. Do not ask me to cover. I do not host. I am not your manager. I am not the owner. Do not ask me to do design work. None of this.
Oh, honey, what are you currently doing?
Running the best Sims on SL. Working with some of the best staff on NSL. DJing some of the great parties on SL. Working with a team of people that I literally yelled at the other night and everyone's like, get them.
Yeah, keep going. You're designing and like everything you walked in and said.
Everything
I don't want to do any of these things. Is now doing all the things.
Right. And I'm loving it.
Well, yeah, you're loving it, but at the same time, I'm just sitting here like, wow, 2024 is just really listening to you.
Well,
like
not
the
only that,
worst
not only
husband
that,
ever. You know what I mean? Like it's listening to like 2024 started and was listening to you like the worst husband ever. Like the one that just kind of intermittently catches parts of things you say. And so it's like, I never want to have chicken again. Comes home with 25 pounds of chicken. You turn around and say, you know, one day I would like to take a vacation. Comes home with tickets to leave next weekend. Just like right. in and out, in and out, in and out, little ADHD going in and out on the conversation of everything you said.
Right. Plus, I'm writing music and songs. Like me and Dreamer, he got me into writing music.
I'll be loving that AI.
I love it. I don't have to hire me a drummer. I don't have to hire me a vocalist. I can sit there, write out the lyrics. They make them all pretty and then turn it into music. I think I'm going to send some of that to the Patreons, especially like Gilded Eagle and a few of the other ones I've wrote that are like originals.
Oh yeah, and Dreamer points out loving the silver dollar. Yeah, it came together really nicely. Like Blue had a lot of beautiful things to go in that just like next leveled. But like the total overall theme, like it's coming together really, really nice.
The silver dollar's coming together. The palace is wonderful. My welcome center gaming area is doing well. Dreamer put together the Dreamer and Blue do amazing. Like I can say, well, you know, it would be nice to have a water fountain in town square. There's a water fountain in town square. You know, so these are things that I'm enjoying in virtual world. Business world, there have been networks that are they're dying. And I'm like,
well, there were networks you were no longer part of.
Right.
That, like you had been told never again, not going back, like this ended on bad terms, whatever. Not that like you did anything wrong, but like it just wasn't a good parting of ways.
Right.
That like you were having issues with that you're like, what are y'all doing? I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. You're about to jump the shark. They jumped the shark. Like it was just like
they jumped the shark. Like, well, one, we built a platform. We built at the time it was a visionary video reading platform.
That was the beginning of the year. Jesus Christ, I'd even forgotten about that one.
No, honey, this is back in 2005. I'm doing brand trips to Canada. I'm shooting video for it. All this, and the contract they sent me was shit. We're talking like 25 cents a freaking video. So me and the owner and the board, and the developers got into an argument. And I basically said, adios, amigos, hasta la verte, la punt, baba punta.
Okay. So there was that. But no, I had totally forgotten. And then one of the other things you said at the end of 2023 was, I'd really like to develop this class site thing and take those classes I made. And I'd really like to open my own site with those in a couple of years. That was like freaking March.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it was like everything you opened your mouth on at the end of 2023 just kaboomed. And it was like, we're just going to cram it all in this year. And it's like, okay.
All right. So Brenda wants us to do this again this year. You do yours, and then I will do mine.
Oh my God, what are we doing? Oh, dreams for 2025. I'm afraid at this point. I don't know that I can take on anything else because my business expanded. Like I'm. Oh my God, I've got so many things to do. So I think for 2025, I would like my workload to level off a little, not totally die and just like, oh my God, I don't know how I was going to do. I just mean like stabilize. Like if I can just get like 2025 to stabilize,
Mm-hmm.
And at most take on 2 new clients in like web and design. Because right now I already know the front end of this year is loaded. So that's my big thing there. That's probably the biggest work goal. Like total worky goal. Let's see. Personally, I've got to lock into routine.
Yeah.
Like it's got to happen. Like I can't.
Right.
I don't know what the last couple of years have done to me, or the last few years have done to me, or if it's just that like late 30s, early 40s thing. I don't know if it's a thing. Someone who's been through the thing, tell me if this resonates. Where it's just like this freewheeling, like, oh, we'll just do whatever, whenever, however. Like my like teens, 20s, 30s came crashing to a halt, and it's like, no, we will not. It isn't like I don't want to sound like I'm having a senior moment where it's like I'm too old for this shit, and you know, it's not that. It's that it really starts to screw with my head. Like it really disorients me, and I'm having those moments where I just spontaneously forget stuff, or I'm not paying attention. I know it's Monday. I totally forget what I do on Mondays. Right. Because the last day or two or week or whatever has been so all over the place. And I just struggle for a week to get back on track and remember to do things I routinely do. Is that a thing? Is that like a normal part of late 30s, early 40s? You just go through this like, well, I know that. But at the same time, you've always had that. Or some version thereof.
Right, but it gets bigger and it gets thicker every year.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. What else?
I'd really like to end 2025 being ready to buy a car.
Okay.
Like, if you want to go all out dreaming, I would really like to end, like, I'm giving us the whole year of buying a second car. Like being, I don't mean that we have achieved it by December 31st. I mean, like, we are ready going into 26 to be like, we're buying it. Okay. We're doing it.
Okay.
Like we've got all of our ducks in a row, all the like we have stabilized income, everything's ready to go to be like, we just got to go start looking. Like we have our down payment saved up, we are good to go.
Okay. I was going to say, my buying a car, or you're buying of a car. My buying of a car is, let's go see what's already got the bugs out of the fucker.
I know. No, I'm saying either which way we do it, because I don't know that it matters a whole lot. Which way we do it. Whether we're buying a second car from that becomes mine, or we're buying a second car that becomes yours. I can kind of coin toss or go back and forth on that. Like, I think the Sportage that we have could probably be a great car for you for a long time. Right. If it becomes like, this is your city dweller. Like, it doesn't really go far. It doesn't move a whole lot. It, gets its routine.
If I wrap it around the tree, it's no big deal.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world. It's like, we know that it's getting a little high mileage. Like, so we push the what kind of car, gas or electric? I think we're gonna stick gas.
Yeah, unfortunately, we live in bumfuck. Like, the closest charging station is 25 minutes away, so we'll have to go gas for now. I would
And quite
love to
frankly,
have
our
lovely
home is too old to upgrade. Like, we need to do an electrical upgrade, and we've already had that priced out and went, oh! That would probably be too much of a push for 2025 to even consider a car in 26 if we have to upgrade the house electrical system with a foresight to being able to home charge. Like, that would just kill it. We'd be 2027, 2028 before we could even consider an electric.
Right. Well, okay. What else?
I think if we can manage those, I'm good.
Okay.
Like, personally, like, it just my dreams. I think if we can manage those, we can be good. I think 26 is going to have to be the year of the computer. Because I know this one's starting to chug a little. But it's got a good solid another year. I know I said that like last year, that I was thinking 25 was probably going to have to be that year. But I think we can chug another year out of this one. But then 26, it's going to be like, oh no, we got to get this together pretty quick. I think that's when it's going to start chugging too hard.
All right. So for me, for 2025, I want to double the business. I would like to stabilize Fire Island. And literally, I would like to see it be the #1 LGBT inclusive, all inclusive. And when I say all inclusive, is I want to have vampiros on there. I want the furries to walk into my Saturday night set and not even blink twice. Like, there's a lot of PR that has to be done to regenerate Fire Island. I want it to be success. I want my team to grow stronger. I'd like, this is not 2025, I would like for 2027 to be an RL meetup of Fire Island. I would like to see all my networks double. I would like to see Exquisite become my lead income, which it's going to have to do some heavy knocking.
Yeah,
like, we'll put it that way.
I think the only thing I want you to be real specific on is you want your business volume to double before you end up with 26 networks. And I don't know, your brain explodes. Just, I think at 26 your brain explodes.
No, I lock out at 18. Like, at 18, I take no more offers. I want my bottom line to double. Meaning that the money walking in my bank account is twice the amount that normally walks into my bank account.
Glorious. But you had some milestones that are really awesome. And granted, one of them was like down to the wire.
Well, it's not even done yet.
Well, it's not done yet, but it's still it's down to the wire. That, like, okay, you know, that it came along and it's been doing okay. It's been a little like extra money, and then this like past month it finally broke 1,000, 1,000 New Zealand,
right?
But 1,000, which has been amazing,
right?
Like, because it was a kind of a rocky, like, it was extra money, but it was like, well, that's our date night,
right? That's the cell phone bill, that type of thing.
Yeah, like, that's been its milestones, and then finally at the end of the year, it's like, boom, we broke $1,000.
Right. So. Yeah, so that'll be nice. I would like to see the network, meaning this network, launch a lot more. This is the reason we've moved to broadcasting one platform, going out all over the vlogs. Like, I would like to see it monetized finally.
Yes.
I'd like to get a vlogging camera, not to be shooting stuff on my phone all the time, because yes, I can do that, but that's not what I want to do, because there's a lot of times I need my phone for things I want to talk about. So we're probably next year buying me a vlogging camera.
Oh, cool.
I want a 2-day trip, and everyone's just going to have to maintain and chill their asses because I want us to go 2 days to the woods.
What?
I want to go camping this year. I want to take you and me and go 2 days camping.
If you're talking camping, I hope you mean a cardboard cutout of me, because I glamp.
I understand that, and you will be fine. You can get through 2 days with me on the banks of the New River.
Okay. My first order of business will be to gather sticks and arrange them into the words, "Please send help," and light them on fire. So, from the banks of the New River.
Again, that way we get 2 days of swimming in, 2 days, and that's something else. There are 3 months of warmth here. I would like to spend half of that, at least 1 day a week, with me and you, because a lot of the changes happened when we could drop the phones, grab the bathing suits, and go swimming.
Yeah, the weekly half-day afternoon was really nice. Research flaming spots. Okay. Love it. But no, I'm cool. And no, the half days were doing us really, really good.
Right.
I don't know how to say this without sounding dumb, but I don't know what the hell happened this year. That it was like we started the warm season and we totally intended to do it, and then I don't know how it got so late in the summer before we were finally like, why the hell aren't we? Oh, it was the weather. It rained every single Wednesday for like a month.
Right.
And then by the time it stopped doing that, we had gotten so frustrated with our half-day Wednesdays because that's what we built in was a half-day Wednesday.
Right.
Oh, she's going to look up, she's going to research glamping spots. Awesome. Right. Even better. Though an alert for flaming spots in West Virginia might not be a bad choice, just FYI. But no, so we had that whole month and we had gotten so disgusted with every week we got really, really excited for Wednesday. Wednesday's coming. And then the weather was just horrible.
Right.
And so it was okay, well, next week. And the next week, the same thing. Next week, the same thing. We got so locked into that. And I think our biggest learning lesson from this year has to be that that was never going to work.
Right. I think that our day is going to have to be Thursdays, the way it looks.
I think we have to get more variable and willing to pick a day. Just pick a day. Right. It might be a Monday. It might be a Tuesday. It might be a Wednesday. It might be a Thursday. We don't know. But alert people, let them know. But we're going to have to look at the weather week to week and make a choice and be this is what we're doing, y'all. Instead of being we're going to bulk schedule this for every single Wednesday and be this is what we're doing. Which there was good reasons coming out of 23. There were really good reasons why it was that way.
Right.
But I think that was the biggest fault I can find with us for 24 was we just locked in on that. The Wednesday was the only day. That's it. Our half day Wednesday. That's all we've got. That's all we can do. And if it failed, we just kind of went, fuck it.
Right.
I'm taking a nap. You're kind of rage watching TikTok. And because you were really and we were both, it was we were really disappointed that we can't do that. And it's the whole week's through it.
Right.
And then by the time it actually got decent on a Wednesday, we didn't even trust it.
Right.
We didn't even trust it. So that was a whole other month of like, yeah, but it'll probably rain.
Well, that, and then, I also took off and done things myself. And I think that this year, I'm going to at least hike, do the try hike, which is take off and hike, get done with the hike, hit the water to cool down, and then come home. And I don't care if I have to do that in the afternoon or in the mornings. I'm going to go do that. Like, we found some really cool hiking shorts. I'm ordering those sometime next month. They fit my hiking needs because I have fabrics and things that piss me off. And I'm going to go hike. I'll either take Gizmo or not take Gizmo. He doesn't like to swim, so a lot of times I don't take him.
Not if that's the end plan, is you're going to go swimming, because he's like, no, I don't know what this is about. Right. Like, I'm not cool.
Right. I am going to be making a shift as soon as the planner gets here, and I'm going to fit just the hours on that planner. I think it's 7 to 10 a.m.
6 a.m. is when it starts, and I'm guessing it's probably like 10 or 11 p.m.
Yeah, but I'm going to rotate them.
Okay. But yeah, which makes sense. Because that'll probably better fix you.
Yes.
So there's that. So the new planner's coming. We were really hoping you'd have it like today or tomorrow. But there's no delivery tomorrow, and it didn't make it today. Like, it just got to like Memphis. So what were the elemental goals that you mentioned on Monday again?
Oh, so my 5 elemental goals. My word for this year is excitement. If it doesn't bring me excitement, I'm done with it.
Okay.
Like, if it doesn't make that creative spark something, I'm done. Like, we're out.
25 is the year of Marie Kondo.
Exactly.
I didn't want to say that earlier, but you started talking like way early this morning. And I was like, you were talking about like, I just want to like throw a bunch of stuff out, and I just like, we have these half-started projects and things that I collected to do stuff, and I was like, why does this sound very Marie Kondo? But I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm not gonna ask that question. And then now I have to be like, so you're gonna Marie Kondo 2025.
Right. Well, it's like, we have a den we don't use. That will probably get redone this year. To either we use it, or it's going to be my office, and we will have heat in there, and we figured out a way to do air in there. We've done both. We figured it out. Like, me and Chewy done that when we replaced the dryer plug.
Nice.
Yeah, it's going to take a drill and me being a little bit scared, but we're going to do it.
Is this the same idea I had where it's like, honey, if you knock a 4-inch hole through it, you can pop the vent for the portable unit?
Yes. Did you not hear the word scared?
Honey, 7 years ago.
Right, but
I find it funny. I just find it funny. I'm not mad. I'm just grateful that we have one of your partners that can do this. Because like I said it like 7 years ago, this was, honey, we'll just drill a 4-inch hole, knock the pipe and do it. And you just kind of looked at me and went,
yeah, because you're thinking standard construction. That room is not standard construction. I also have to put a pony wall up in there.
Okay.
Like, there's some building that has to occur back there for this to occur.
Yeah, there's a construction project to be had there.
Yes.
But no, I appreciate like the fact that like he says it and you're like, I have confidence that this could work.
Well, one, he brought up
he's
the
done
line.
a lot of homework.
Right. He brought up the extension cords that don't get hot to things.
Mm-hmm.
He also brought up the thing of, well, and then in the winter, you can flip that around and you can put it in your propane tank. So that would have another propane heater like the one in here. Actually, the heater in here will go back there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Very cool. Very cool. I'm down. I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining.
Okay.
And I think sometimes that's where I know this is totally going a little off topic, but I think sometimes it's where a lot of relationships sometimes have issues is when partners get really mad that like I said this and you went, no. And then like your best friend, your dad, your mom, some other human being says the exact same thing. And you're like, cool. I trust you. I'm down for it. Let's do this. I'm inspired. I believe I can do it now. And the reason I bring this up is because, and drew attention to it, was the fact that, like, I'm happy you're going to do it.
Right.
Like, that's where I'm at. But it's also one of those things, it's like, sometimes it's like, I swear we had this conversation.
Well,
like,
we did have this conversation, but
like,
there was
just
two...
in my head?
No, but there were three problems. One, there's no electric in that room that could run in so we had to find an extension cord for that. And I'm like, there isn't one. And he's like, yeah, there is. Go get these. Mm-hmm. There is the problem with the wall. Like we have to have a pony wall with a pony door so that Gizmo isn't constantly on me.
Right.
That's the other thing. We have to get the fence fixed outside. We have to get the propane in here. And I'm redoing the flower beds with cinder blocks. That way I can grow my plants. Everything does nicely. And the lawn dudes aren't hitting my plants.
Yes.
All right. So that's all the house projects. But the elemental goals. The word of the year is excite. The earth goal is money. I want my business to fucking double. My creative goal is I'd like to have like 10 songs that are original creations that I could technically like go to CD Baby and go, here, produce this, and they will then sell them. My health goal is I want to hit 200 pounds. I'm at 218 right now. I'd like to see 200 and see what that looks like on
me. Okay.
Because my lowest of memory is 187, and I don't want to go to 187. See here. And then the emotional goals is us having time together, which is the trips to the lake, the trips hiking, the trip camping, like getting that together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So Brenda was bringing up, yes, but I mean, earth equals air equals, yeah. So, yeah, we just finally got there. Sorry, I derailed him at the very beginning.
Right.
Sorry.
So, yeah, my money goal is my earth goal. And then my spirit goal is actually getting back to my routine. Because this past month and a half of experimentation and failure,
I think she had a typing moment.
Oh, you want to write it down. Earth is like whatever earth goal you want. What is physically here? Air is your creative, your thoughtful goal. Fire is normally health. Fire is healing. Fire is body image. Fire is whatever there. Water is your emotional goal. And then spirit is whatever feeds your spirit. I'm not saying spirituality, because Lord knows if I do another spiritual goal, I'm either going to levitate, move time, or start a cult. One of the three.
And I can tell you right now, if he can try time travel, he's going to not use it for any good purpose.
Oh, honey, there are thousands of good purposes.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, everyone thinks that they'll immediately go back and kill Hitler. Not how it works out.
No, you actually have to go back and kill, not Hitler. You have to go back and kill, we worked this out one time, and it's Napoleon.
Oh, you're telling me that all history went wrong at Napoleon. Like, we were doing good, and then Napoleon.
Well, there's a reason that Napoleon creates Hitler.
Pardon?
Napoleon creates Hitler.
Okay.
He takes over Austria. Austria goes into poverty. Poverty goes into creating the life.
Ah, there you go. Fair enough.
Right. Oh, cool. So Brenda's got her setting her year up. They've all decided on words, and those are basically filters, that type of thing. And of course, like, I'm getting more active. Like, I plan to be very active this year. Like, hopefully there will be, if I get the vlogging camera that I want, there'll be like hiking vlogs. And I cracked a recipe that isn't anywhere on fucking YouTube for gluten-free. So I'm going to be showing that one.
Oh yeah, that was really fun last night. Like, that was a nice one to have back. And it's one of those things. And if you really want to talk it, like, I don't want to give it away, but let's just say that it's in the genre of Southern cooking, country cooking. And that is like the weirdest little non-existent niche of gluten-free. And it's like, how did that?
Right. Skip this.
Yeah, like everything else got deglutened. You know what I mean? Like, someone like figured out the Rubik's Cube, it seems. Like, you can find gluten-free Italian, you can find gluten-free Mexican, you can find gluten-free, you name it. And for some it's just it never had gluten to begin with, so you're fine. Don't add. Right. And like, watch your vegetables, and if you're using canned and blah blah blah. But otherwise, it should by nature be gluten-free. But then there's this weird little space where it's like there is no gluten-free, like, Southern country cooking.
Right.
Doesn't exist.
Right. Well, it's going to exist because I'm going to do it.
But
granted,
I
it's
just
going
found
to
it
be like I can have 8 channels like Peter Mon, but I'm just going to put it all on one channel and you guys can deal with it.
Yeah, well, you can put it in playlists. Like, segment it by playlist, please.
Right.
Because you don't want people having to like scroll through the whole list of shows to find that one recipe.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, Brenda's like, ooh, Southern cooking. Found Hoppin' John soup that I'm making for tomorrow instead of just Hoppin' John. Yes, add cornbread with it.
Yep.
And cornbread, wildest thing about cornbread, should be naturally gluten-free. The number of like mixes, because I'm sorry, I think our mothers, grandmothers, great grandmothers, somewhere along the line, all moved to mixes in like somewhere around like 1950. And I don't think anyone's just been doing straight cornmeal to make cornbread in a long time. And not that you have to, there are now mixes. But it was the weirdest thing finding out, like, that's one of the things we have to look out for. Because it's like, why is there flour or gluten or you know what I mean? Like, because it's flour, it's gluten, it's whey, it's like, there's a lot of this.
There's a lot.
And it's like, how did that get involved in this? And it's like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, you want to stretch it. You got to stretch this. So you take a little bit of this and add to it, and then that becomes a pattern. And it's like, okay, well, why is that? Like, why do we soak our chicken overnight?
99 cents,
right,
for like 20, 30 years. Like, which happened with like the Jiffy cornbread mix. It was the same price, and then only recently, like the last 10 years, started to slowly eke up.
Right.
And even now, it's not going to kill you.
Exactly.
And, if they get it overstocked, they'll still drop it to like 50 cents a box.
Right. But it is 65% wheat flour.
Yeah.
So when I make cornbread, real cornbread, not the mixes that I buy now, you may not like it.
And that's okay.
Right.
Excuse me. And that's okay, because there was a point, and I'm sure it coincides.
Mm-hmm.
Because, okay, so like, I think it was like 12-ish years ago,
Mm-hmm.
Jiffy removed the egg.
Right.
And we all kind of went, there used to be an egg I needed for this?
Mm-hmm.
And like, it was a thing online. Like, people were having a moment like, am I crazy? Like, I remember you had to add an egg.
Mm-hmm.
And then they took it out. And so we all went, well, they must have, it must have been like the cake mix, where you didn't actually need the egg. They just wanted you to feel like you were doing something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if that's the point they started making the shift, and it went from actual cornbread mix, or mostly actual cornbread,
Mm-hmm.
to this weird cakey thing with some
Right.
corn in it.
Right.
Which, by the way, is about what it is now for the Jiffy mix.
Right.
Like, I wonder if that's like, if the two correspond. And like they kind of like basically threw cornmeal at like cake mix, and said, we'll kill two birds with one stone, and we'll really streamline this business, and then rip the egg out, because you don't need that with the cake mix.
Possibly. Like, there's a lot of things that occurred in the 40s and 50s to keep prices low.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, why is that in there? It's like right now they're adding gluten to your green beans so that they can stay on the shelf for 4 years instead of 2.
Yeah, go figure that one, right?
Go figure that one. Or caramel, and so that it can stabilize longer. These are weird things, So yeah, I may like. There's going to be some cooking videos. My Patreons have gotten them before, of me cracking some recipes and going, okay, how do we actually make this? And no, it's not going to be healthy, but it is going to be gluten-free. That's the other thing, was the 1960s and this health concern. This is when like eggs that's when eggs.
Yeah, we outlawed egg
down.
Well, yeah, but the whole reason the egg was there to begin with was because consumers hated buying the box mix and feeling like they just totally did nothing. Like, it wasn't real cooking.
Right.
It was like a kid's thing. So they added the egg and just a couple of steps. So, these poor little homemakers would buy the product and feel like they did something. Literally, that was the whole reason the egg existed.
Right, but the other side of that is, if you take the cake mix itself, technically doesn't need it, but it does need it. And what I mean by that is, it does technically need 6 eggs. Because the cake mix itself, if you put 6 eggs in it, it'll turn out twice as much. They didn't want you to do that, so they had powdered egg in them to begin with.
Well, it was supposed to be it was just supposed to be dump, mix, go.
Right.
Like, it was supposed to be easy.
Right.
So they dropped it like by 1 egg. Enough to or the 2 eggs, I think is what it is. Pulled back a little bit. And add your 2 eggs. Oh my God, I did something. Like, the weirdest, stupidest things that happen in marketing of products to make consumers feel or have an experience. They're nuts when you look at them later. Like, we fell for this shit.
Well,
like, we fell for it.
Honey, you fell for it tonight.
What did I fall for tonight?
You want to tell them the question? And I looked at you and go, Joe, really? We sat down to dinner. You're trying to figure out what to order. And you're like, do you want to split?
No, that wasn't a legitimate question. I was saying that I was having the wildest moment tonight, because our original restaurant was supposed to have been Kobe. We were going to go. I had sushi on the brain. I was prepped for sushi. Kobe is closed tonight. There was no Kobe happening. So we had to divert to Bob Evans, not a bad thing. We like Bob Evans.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a gluten-free menu, and it's a great experience, and
Mm-hmm.
whatever. We do really like Bob Evans, but I was still locked on sushi, and
Right.
I'm looking at the menu, and my brain, it was not making the diversion with me. Like, it's over here going sushi, and you can't have sushi, Joe. And it's like you have to pick something on the menu, and so my brain started tossing out like the weirdest combination of things that is not a single meal.
Right.
Like, this is going to be a $50 order if we do this. And one of the things that I jokingly said was like, and do you want to split, a loaded fry? And I knew already you can't have that, but it was where my brain went was like, I want this and this and this. And they were like from 3 different foods or 3 different items on the menu in totally different disparate sections. And would you like to split a loaded fry? And it's like, stop.
Right.
Like, not pick a meal.
Right.
One meal cohesively is what you're having.
Right.
Do that. Like, you cannot order these totally different things.
Right.
Like, it does not work.
Right.
So yeah, but no, I said that jokingly. That wasn't serious. I knew that couldn't be done already.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I wish it could, but the cheese they use is shredded and it's got sawdust powder.
Yeah, so it most likely has a modified food starch, most likely gonna be whey based.
Right.
Or flour based, or it's one of those, your mileage will vary with pre-shredded cheese. And then you're also having some lactose issues in general. Like, your body's like, I don't know what lactose
a lot of things. Anymore.
Yeah. So it's an experience. It's an experience. So yeah.
All right. So let's go ahead and do you want to do an Are You the Asshole?
Yeah, grab me one. Find me a good end of year one. I know, right? I've been struggling, guys. Like, to choose an Are You the Asshole, like, every week. It's like some of the headings are way better than the situations.
Right.
And the situations are like, And then every once in a while, I find one that it's like, that would be great.
Right.
But I don't think we can handle that. Like, there's no way to read that and not get the stream ticket.
Right.
And some problems, I will say, Are You the Asshole is really filled with a lot of wedding drama.
Yeah.
Point that out.
Yeah. All right. So here you go.
All right. Ooh. All right. So starting with Am I the Asshole? Am I the asshole for telling my coworker why customers might not like her? I work at a restaurant as a server. One of my coworkers moved up here from Georgia for college and started working here a few months ago. She constantly lays on the Southern charm thing thick. She calls everyone honey and sweetie and all of that. She also tends to chit-chat with people instead of just letting them eat after bringing them their food or drinks. It's also kind of obvious that a lot of them don't want to really talk to her. They give her one-word answers and she just barrels forward and talks at them. Management has told her off more than once for this. About 2 weeks ago, she was upset because a customer yelled at her and said, "Don't call me that," when she called her honey, and she complains that she's not getting as many tips as the other servers. She says it's because she has a Southern accent and customers think she's stupid, but I don't think that's the case. She asked me for advice, and I said it's because she takes so long to bring things out and wastes time trying to make small talk. I also said that the excessive pet names sound kind of condescending, and they aren't really something you would call a stranger here. She told me that she wasn't going to start being rude to customers because she would make even less money. I told her it's not being rude if it's just how things work here, and it's rude to other customers she's supposed to be serving when she spends all of her time trying to make small talk instead of doing her job and calling them weird things. Now she's mad and has been avoiding me. Maybe I could have been gentler when trying to explain why people complain about her, but I was also really stressed because it's Christmas season and so much is going on. Am I the asshole?
Yes. Because the way she talks is not the issue. The problem here are two problems. One, she's taking forever to get the food out. There isn't time for small talk when you got a 10 point. But you're attacking the other parts that you don't like.
I'm going to actually go, this is going to be a split tonight. I'm going to go with not the asshole.
Okay.
I think you could have phrased it a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
And I think some of what you, like, I think what you're saying is functionally right.
Right.
I'm saying that there's some technicalities with it that it's like you, granted, advice is worth what you pay for it, and free advice is just that. Right. But I think there's some ways that you could have helped her that, argumentatively it is Christmas, you're stressed, whatever. I think that's a little bit excusey, but I don't think you really like her, and I think you are also personally offended by her.
Right.
To start with.
Right.
But I don't think you're technically wrong. I think it's one of those, like, Southern hospitality does not transfer to the North. It doesn't. Northern hospitality does not transfer to the South.
Exactly. It's like
there are two different speeds.
Well, debatable. And what I mean by that is debatable, because I always serve Southern hospitality around the world. The problem isn't the Southern hospitality.
Okay.
The problem is, quite frankly, taking too long to bring stuff out. Making small talk when you've got food on table to get to tables.
Well, but I think in her mindset, she's being very friendly. She's being very endearing. She's in the South, in Georgia, in North Carolina, in South Carolina, in Kentucky, in many other areas in the South, she'd be getting tipped left, right, and center. This is normal. This is exactly how this works. Right. And if you don't do it, you're being rude. Exactly what she's saying. You're being rude. You're being hateful. You're not going to get any tips. Blah, 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 blah. It has nothing to do with the Southern accent. It has to do with how you're interacting as a Southern trained woman in a Northern area where this stuff comes across as offensive, rude, slow, and is not what the customer's expecting from their dining experience. They're looking to get in, get their food. They want you to be pleasant. They don't want you to be rude, but they want you to just be pleasant and, get their shit to them so they can get the fuck out. That's it. That's their focus.
Right.
There is a very different approach to, especially in the North versus the South.
Right.
You go out to eat in the South, you budget a minimum of like 2 hours. Like dining out in the South is an experience.
As it should be.
But in the North, it's way more functional. You go out to eat because you're hungry and you want your fucking food. You don't want to deal with a jerk who's like, what the fuck do you want? You're wasting my time. Hurry up, get your shit together and get the fuck out. That's not the experience you want, but you want to get in, order your food, get your food promptly, pleasantly have a pleasant exchange, pay your bill, and go on with your life. You don't have time for all this stuff, especially if you're talking about larger cities.
Right.
Like it's not going to play well. This is not, and I'm thinking that maybe the lean here is that we're potentially talking like Philly, New York, DC, somewhere large.
Well, debatable. But here's the thing, and this is the part, looking at it, I'm listening to the issue, and she said one thing, and it's everything to do with it.
Okay.
You take forever to bring shit out. That's it. The conversation ain't the problem. You may want to like not make the small talk if they aren't talkative. Like it's just like burger, fries. Okay, great, hon. I'll get it to you in a moment, and then move the fuck on. That's not the problem. The problem, however, comes in and is drugged to the forefront when you're taking forever to refill my coffee. You're taking forever. Like, small talk is cute, but if my coffee cup is fucking empty, you have a problem.
So more to the point, can you work and talk? Yeah. Which is part of it. I'll also say that honey and sweetie, depending upon how far north you go, oh yeah, you're going to start pissing people off.
See, I've been called honey, sweetie, and darling everywhere from, New York, Philly, like all the cities that you named off that I've been to. That's what I get when I go to places. And that's very normal. But I tell you the difference. And this is like me and you got into this early on in our relationship. And I'm like, if they ain't keeping my coffee cup filled, they aren't getting a tip. You are like, they get 20% minimum. I'm like,
no. 20% isn't my minimum. 20% is my standard. And that's, and my biggest one, because I truly believe the one thing that your server has absolute 100% control over is my cup empty.
Right.
You as a server, like, you cannot control whether my order is right. Like, as long as you put it in right, like, you can't control what the kitchen does. You can look at it and try to prevent issues, but ultimately, if it's a sandwich and buried in the middle is a jalapeno pepper I didn't order, you don't know that. I can't blame you for that. I can't blame you that my steak is medium well instead of medium rare. I suspect as a server, once you've cut into it, you would know the difference, but
you may know the difference outside. If you are a good server, you can tell the difference when that steak is like a rare steak will be very juicy. A medium rare steak should look kind of like the inside of your hand softness. If it ain't looking that way, why are you letting your cook do that? Just turn it right around and send him back to him and tell him to fucking cook it right.
Yeah. But no, what I was saying is I think the drink is like A1 for judging a server. Like, that is the one thing you have 100% control over. You're not cooking my food. The best you can do is try to catch it on the way out of the kitchen and put the order in into the system correctly. Like, you have control over that. But everything else, like, that's not 100% you, was my point. So right. I typically try not to take out on the server anything that, like, isn't something they can control. You can control how you talk to me. You can control, like, how that interaction goes. I don't need you to make me feel like we're going on a date later, but I do expect you to be, generally speaking, pleasant.
Right.
Like, you don't have to go like full tits in my face. Right. I'm just saying, be generally pleasant.
Right. Well, there's one server, we talk about eating here, so we'll talk about that place. There's one server there I hate. Like, I hate having him. It has nothing to do with anything other than he is not at my table long enough to even hear my complete order or the things that I need him to do to my order.
Yeah, he rushed. He's very, like, he is the ultimate northern server. He is in a hurry. I just want your order and get it to the kitchen and bring it out to you. Right. And that's it. He doesn't want to small talk. He doesn't small talk. Pleasant is even a bit sketchy. Like he doesn't even like.
He doesn't even greet you.
Not really. It's like, hey, how are you? And then launches into it. Like, so what are we getting today? Like, there's not even a breath,
right,
to say anything.
Nor does he listen.
You know, but it's a very canned. Like, it's not like rude per se. Like, it doesn't sound horrible. It sounds friendly, but it sounds very tape recorded, and there's no spacing to even begin to talk.
Right.
So it's just like, here's your order, like, and he's like pushing you through it.
Right.
And then he's running off to the kitchen, like you have no opportunities with him.
Right.
And so I understand why you're like, his tip's gonna suck.
No, he didn't get a tip. He doesn't get a tip every time I give him, because he cannot stay there long enough to hear my drink order, much less what I want in my food. He always is like, I have to flag a waitress down to bring me things that he has forgotten,
or we have to wait on him, and it becomes very much like throw the stick, wait for the dog to retrieve it. And this is a horrible way to talk about a server, but this literally describes the interaction process. It's like throw the stick, wait for the dog to bring it to you, throw the next stick, or throw the stick again, wait for him to bring it to you. Because it becomes like you can't get him to stop long enough to like list the things that are missing. Like, I need the gluten-free soy sauce. We're waiting for a drink refill. And like, there's no ands involved.
Right.
It's like, I need a drink refill. He goes and gets the drink refill, comes back. You have to try to stop him because he just wants to drop the drink and keep going. You have to stop him. I need the gluten-free soy sauce. He goes and gets it. He comes back. He drops it, tries to do the same thing with soy sauce. Drop it off and keep going. You have to stop him. And like, this is how the whole, it's very glitchy. Yeah. So no, I don't necessarily love that you don't tip him at all. But he would probably be a 5% tip in my book.
Well, he starts out with the normal 15% tip.
He never refills a drink.
No.
He has never refilled a drink. And again, I don't think he's rude per se. I don't think he gets how this works for the customer. And that like, you are very efficient for takeout.
Right.
You're A1 for takeout. Like, mobile orders and you like a glove.
Exactly.
But interacting with customers and trying to go through the whole like ordering meal experience, yeah, like you're not suited to this. You need to be in a drive-through, a pickup, a to-go functionality. Like, that's what you would be really skilled as an expediter. Like, heavy golden retriever energy, I don't think he's a bad dude.
I don't think he's a good dude.
He's not fit for server. Like, he doesn't work in that capacity. It doesn't work.
Right. Whereas our normal girl knows me, she's our normal girl. She's like, soup and sushi? Yes. Gluten-free soy sauce? Yes. Do you want me to see if we got such and such in? Please do, because then we may expand our order.
And it goes great. It is a wonderful experience. It really, truly is. And we talk and joke, and she gets at least a 20% tip.
More.
And do what now?
More.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying frequently, like, it's more, or it's at least 20%. Like, I don't think she's ever had a day bad enough that we dropped under 20%. Right. That's what I'm saying and like, our drinks are full. We get our drinks out. Like, she goes ahead and like, she already knows what we want in a boba. Like, It's our most expensive eat out.
Right.
Or can
And
be.
it's mostly the tip. She
Part of
earns it.
it's part of it's the tip, but part of it is also she ends up encouraging us to order something different, order more, just in general. Because she's ready to go. She knows what's going on, and she knows exactly what to present us when.
Right.
Like, she's rocking. She is absolutely rocking it.
Yeah.
And it's got to be very confusing if they were to actually be paying attention customer by customer versus server to server. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
You know, like, and I'm sure there's got to be a moment where it's like, I hate them.
Yeah.
And she's sitting there going, they're my favorite customers. I don't know that that's true necessarily, but
because I'll drop $100 bill in that restaurant easily with her because she knows, she even has already researched the menu, knows exactly, like, hey, why don't you order, see if you like this because it is gluten free, or we got the gluten free Haas in so you can get your General So's in, or she's told me point blank, bring in your own sauces and I'll make them cook it the way you want it. That's the waitress I want.
Yeah, that's the waitress we want. It can go really well. But I don't know that, like, she could ever fix him. Like, if he were to sit there and ask her, like, what am I doing wrong? I don't think she could fix him. And I think that's probably a large part of what this am I the asshole problem is going to be. I don't think you're going to ever, and I know I was kind of going, and I'm still kind of there. I think there's a different way to articulate what OP said. But I think ultimately you're going to have a hard time trying to give feedback and criticism.
Right.
Because that's just not who you are. Is ultimately the end of day. Like, I think every server has a personality that they are. And they can excel in the right environment. And this just ain't it. Like, you're never going to cut it up here. You're never going to cut it with these people. Because you're built for something different. Like, and that is what you naturally do, and you're going to struggle. You're really going to struggle to, like, alter who you are. To make this work. Like, I don't know who told you serving is easy and you can make great money. Because it's not easy. It's very difficult. Doubly so when your personality doesn't match what the customers want. And then you're not going to make any money.
But, slow food service is terrible. All right, so let's take this psychic one, because this is one I want to dig into.
All right. Does weed increase psychic abilities? Experience. I've done weed about 10 times in my life. Every time I've done it, I've never heard anything audibly. But a few weeks ago, I was given a jade necklace, or punamu in my culture. This stone necklace was also blessed, making it more sacred. And ever since I've put it on, when I would lay or just zone out, my ears will go fuzzy and I will start hearing sounds like small talking, etc. I also did weed a couple of weeks after I got this necklace, and every time I would lay still, I will hear laughter, very loud talking outside, and even chanting or an ancient prayer from my people from a long time. Sometimes it sounded like I was in the middle of a jungle with birds. It was so far out. What is this? Again, I rarely ever do weed, almost never. I feel like my necklace is amplifying the sounds I'm hearing. Anything I wanted to listen to, it would slowly come into my ear. It was something I've never heard or experienced before. Can anyone explain what this was?
All right. What is going on there is hallucinations. That is not active psychic ability. It is actually And I have said this, and I will continue to say this: if you are smoking weed and doing readings, you're dulling your senses. You are not sharpening them. You want to stimulate because you need to raise vibrations, not lower them. So the necklace may be amplifying, but honey, if you're smoking weed, you're not. You're losing your point. You're dulling your source.
Okay. Now I think for some people the argument has been made before that it relaxes them or moves them into like a more receptive state. Like it makes them fuzzy.
It makes them fuzzy. And the readings will be fuzzy.
Well, that's fair. But I think the point for some people is like it opens up it turns off the analytical brain.
Right.
Like you're not sitting there thinking about, oh, I need to pay the bills and like take the dog out and it turns that part off.
Right.
Which for some people, I understand why you think it's helpful. But the ultimate problem is like you're relying on a substance that's going to make you fuzzy. And not actually learning to like, meditate on your own and get to that, analytical brain off, open receptive state experience. You're using substance to do it. So this is not a ringing endorsement that, well, weed doesn't work for psychic abilities, but have you tried meth? That's not what this is.
No.
This is not what that is. This is not about doing stimulants to increase your psychic abilities. If you heard that and took that away from this, you would be wrong. That's not what this is, because that's going to fuck you up worse.
Right.
Like, that's a whole other different category of why substance abuse and psychic abilities do not mix.
Right.
Weed specifically, however, does help with turning off and I think there's a few others, peyote, ayahuasca, like all that, will turn off the analytical brain. That is a thing they do. They are depressants. They are like alcohol. They will turn off your analytical brain.
Right. But they're not improving your psychic abilities. If anything, they're making them worse.
Yes. Because while you're open and receptive and you're not clouded with all the other life stuff, you're clouded and off in a different direction. So what you remember, what you comprehend is all going to get a little wavy.
Exactly.
So you're not going to really have a good understanding. You're not going to have a good timeline. You're not going to have like all of that part of it is also going to get fuzzy. But it is interesting. And I actually, this is weird. This comes up because it is weirdly, depressants, like alcohol and marijuana, do come up in a couple of fields of STEM, for programming, for heavy duty math. Like the old joke was, in order to understand fuzzy logic, you have to be fuzzy. And I will say that for everyone who did that, you learned real quick that doesn't mean get trashed.
Right.
Like at least on the STEM side. A drink.
Right.
A drink. One drink. A beer.
Right.
All you needed to just kind of slow things down a little bit and let those things disconnect a little.
Right.
So that you could shift the gear and be a little more open and receptive to the fact that this is not as linear as most of the rest of your life. This works kind of sideways.
Right.
Like you're working in multiple dimensions now. It's a lot less linear. Right. Because much of our world is very timeline linear. Right. And you're going from here to here to here to here to here.
Right.
Versus like fuzzy logic and programming, where no.
Right.
If you're like not since basic have you had linear programming. So if you're trying to understand programming today,
Mm-hmm.
and it was one of the wildest experiences of having professors literally encourage you to find your substance of choice
Mm-hmm.
to get you through.
Right.
Like I literally had a professor with a water bottle that said, if you think this is water, you are horribly mistaken.
Exactly.
Was he ever trashed for class? No.
Right.
And he would go through, because it was like the big, like, I'm not talking one of these, I'm talking like I'm carrying a water bottle, I refill it. Yeah, exactly. And like he's not sitting there getting trashed. He's not refilling this every class.
Mm-hmm.
He's just having a few sips to keep the brain just a little off center.
Right.
Just a little off center. Was never about getting trashed.
Right. And that's the whole point on the psychic side is no, you want to stem up. As in, you want a good reading, great. You get 7 shots of espresso down you. You get find another few, maybe you smoke a couple cigarettes. And then get hyper. Get as hyper as you can, and you will get and then focus that hyperism on something, and you can get a spot on, like never been able to read the outside of the inside of a paper bag. Hype them up, they'll do perfectly fine. That's why also most psychics are ADHD, but
yeah. Well, and there is a good connection there, but again, like if you're going to try, and not recommended, but if you're going to try to do this with substance abuse, the key there is to not actually abuse the substance.
Right.
I mean, I'm not telling anyone to take a hit and stop of some very light recreational marijuana. But if that's what you choose to do, that's what you choose to do.
Right.
If you are talking about alcohol, maybe a shot, maybe half a shot. Sip a glass of wine.
Right.
That's probably your better place. If you're just looking to a hair off center, just a hair
for fuzzy
off center.
For fuzzy logic work, yes. For psychic work, no. You want to be grandstand ready to go take on a football crew.
But if you think you have no ability whatsoever, I think you could find out with that. Just a hair fuzzy. You don't have to get wasted. You don't have to get smashed. You don't have to be like laughing at the ceiling.
Right.
To figure that out. Then after that, no, you have to actually go the other direction. Like go to Starbucks. Go to Starbucks. Get a Starbucks card. You're going to need it. And you're going to have to figure out how to get pumped.
Right.
Music, whatever you got to do, exercise. Like you've got to get the blood pumping. You got to be really self-confident. You got to really tune out and get really good at tuning out intrusive thoughts.
Right.
Like the kind that are like, oh my God, the rent's due. Oh my God, I got to do this. My paycheck doesn't get, like, you got to turn that. You've got to get really good at, like, turn that off.
Right.
Let it go. Like, have the thought, go, that's nice, and let it go.
Well, you've made the comments before, and you think you're kind of cute and funny, and I'm like, yeah, I can do a reading, and the whole house can blow up around me. As long as nothing touches me, I'm in that reading.
Very much so. And then you're going to be real surprised thereafter. Yeah. Because it becomes a bubble that you are in, and like nothing else matters. And I don't even think it's that you wouldn't know. That's not really it. It's that it'd be like, oh, the house is on fire. That's fine. And let it go. Just
Right.
let it go.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you take it in and that becomes your focus and you let it rule and you harp and you spiral on it, nope, you're not reading shit.
Right.
Like, it's not happening. But it is also part of the interesting parts of, like, if you wonder why Aeson's not working sometimes, he's too fucking tired.
Right.
That's it. He's sick and he has taken a cough medication of any variety. Any variety. Does not matter. It is a depressant. He can't read. We went to dinner. He's had a rough day. He decided he's having a margarita. He's not working that night.
Right.
Because everything he's going to do is not going to be wrong. But is it going to necessarily, to him, feel like something people ought to be paying him for? It's not his professional standard.
Right. You know, so no, Aeson doesn't drink if he's planning to work. Like tonight, we've got sparkling grape juice. That's what we're having at midnight.
Oh, yeah.
Now at 8 o'clock, I have a bottle of wine that's been waiting a year, calling my name.
And the lovely world of people who are, you know, different, like midnight shifts and swing shifts and all this. He will be drinking at 8 a.m. Like, we're not talking 8 p.m. He will be drinking at 8 a.m. Because that's his, like, 9 p.m.
Right.
10 p.m., 11 p.m., whatever you want to call it. That's his, like, night. So, yeah, he's going to have a few drinks and go to bed.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, guys, let's see. Joe, were you voted the asshole?
Oh, where did it split like we did? Because we went.
No.
Oh, David doesn't deal with just drunk Aeson. Oh, he deals with a drunk Aeson. Oh, he deals with a drunk Aeson. You don't want to deal with David and a drunk Aeson. No, you don't.
And it is official. To end the year out, you are the asshole.
All right, I'll take it.
Yeah. Yeah. And just FYI, no, that bottle of wine won't get me drunk. It won't even get me buzzed. I just want to drink it.
Well, you'll enjoy it, but it does influence, like, your ability to work.
Oh, yeah.
Like that. It may not get you, like, classically drunk, but it will impact you.
Right.
All right. So, of course, we want to thank Beverly Walker, Mika G, Brenda, Joan Owens, Shannon C, Shannon D, Lady Gwendolyn, Caitlin Bell, Devin, Bella, and Maria Meyer. If you'd like to learn more about us, the show, or how you too can become a Patreon sponsor and receive all the wonderful benefits our baristas receive, please visit us at pcspnetwork.com.
Yes. All right, y'all. You have a great evening. And yes, Brenda, I think it's like $500 to get Aeson drunk. And that's mostly off a hot top shelf liquor. All right, guys. We'll see you later. Bye, y'all.
Bye. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.